What's up, people? This is Mr. Opinionated coming to you this evening to talk to you a little bit about the topic of trust. Trust, building trust, and rebuilding trust. There are a lot of people who think that trust is something that comes automatically. There are a lot of people who think that trust is something comes with the presentation of a title. However, it's not that easy. Trust is not something that you just give out like a dollar store gift. Not that there's anything wrong with dollar store gifts. I actually like dollar store gifts. They let you know that somebody is thinking about you. However, it's not something that you just give out very easily. People are under the impression that trust is easily earned. Trust is not easily earned. In fact, there may be people in our lives that we have known for years. They may be family members. Hey, what's up, Dimitri? There may be family members who we do not trust. There may be co-workers who we worked with for years and years and years that we may not trust. Trust is not easily built. And once you break somebody's trust, it is not easily restored. A lot of people think that when you do things that the trust automatically comes back. Forgiveness may be instant, but rebuilding trust is not something that is instant. In order to build trust in somebody, you have to observe the person, number one. Do they have any character? Do they do things that are ratchet? Are they backstabbing? Do they throw people under the bus? There's a whole lot of things that we must take into consideration when building trust, depending on the situation, depending on the place, depending on the person. Trust is not something that is easily earned or easily rebuilt. Have you ever been taken advantage of? Of course, the answer is yes. At one point in time or another, people have taken advantage of the things that we have, the gifts that we have, or the things that we can do. Once you find out that a person has taken advantage of you and are using you, you kind of distance yourself a little bit because you don't trust them, because you don't want to be taken advantage of. And when you sit down and have that conversation about being taken advantage of, you feel some kind of way. And of course, quite naturally, the person wants to be back into that feeling of the relationship where things are easy breezy, where things are the way they used to be. But when trust is broken, things don't automatically go back to the way they used to be. It just doesn't work like that. There are emotions, there are feelings, there are bonds that are broken. So in order to build trust, you have to put in the work. You can't just walk up with somebody off the street and just say, I automatically trust this person. In the ideal world, yes. We give people millions and millions of opportunities to build up trust. But in the real world, it doesn't work like that. And I'll share something. Franklin Covey has this wonderful series that's called The Speed of Trust. I was using this curriculum in a training that I was doing with the 25th District, the Chicago Police Department 25th District, and it was an instance where we were trying to build trust between the community and the police department, and there are a lot of things going on in that sphere of trust between the community and trust between the police. And we were able to sit together and talk about the common things that we think about each other. What do citizens normally think of police? What do police normally think of citizens? And of course, you may be amazed or you may not be amazed of the preconceived notions that people have of each other that get in the way of building trust. So if you can invest in the curriculum, just go online and Google it. It's called The Speed of Trust. It's Franklin Covey. There's books, there's exercises, but it's pretty cool. And I wanted to talk about building trust because so many people have been hurt. So many people have been betrayed. So many people have been used and abused. And the people that are on the other end often think you can just walk back into somebody's life and regain the position that they've had. And Demetric says, wow, I know that was an intense conversation. It was really intense because, some of the things that people were saying, and it's like, oh, is that what the police officer thinks when he's rolling up on a corner and he's from an affluent community and he automatically thinks this about this person? Or is this what a community member automatically thinks of the policeman, even though this policeman could actually understand what they're going through? So it was a very interesting training. Hopefully we can get it started back. I think that we had to stop around the summertime when things got really busy in the city and, the crime rate elevated. So we had to put it on hold. So hopefully we get back to it. But getting back to what I was saying, it's like people think they can walk back into other folks' lives and regain positions that they've had when trust is broken. Has anybody ever broke your trust? Has anybody ever hurt you deeply? Has anybody ever taken advantage of you? Has anybody ever told your secrets and you thought that this is that one person that I could trust? Has anybody ever stolen money from you? Has anybody that has had access to personal information like credit have taken your credit and destroyed it? You could have answered yes to some of those things. Those are not things that you bounce back from very easily. Of course, forgiveness is important. Forgiveness is for you, not necessarily for the other person. So harboring the emotions of unforgiveness is a bad thing. However, many people are confused with forgiveness and reconciliation. In order to reconcile, you have to put in work. Forgiving somebody, you're commanded to do that. I don't know many of you that believers, but we're commanded to forgive in order to get forgiveness for God. But reconciliation, it was my personal belief, is different. You need to put some work in when you are trying to reconcile with somebody. A husband and wife may have a big blowout fight. Sometimes people break the marriage bond. Sometimes people go outside of the marriage. Now, of course, when someone finds out, they don't just say, oh, I forgive you, and things get back to normal when they're lovey-dovey like they were before and they were trusting like they were before. It does not work like that. In order to build trust and rebuild trust, reconciliation has to take place and you have to put in work. So it's a little bit unrealistic to think that things are just going to have a big blowout, that somebody's going to break the bonds of trust, and that they're naturally going to get back together and things are going to go right back to being the way they were. So I just really wanted to talk about these things because trust, people think trust comes with titles. People think that just because you have a title, just because somebody is your supervisor, just because somebody is over you spiritually, just because somebody is over you in any kind of way, that the people under you should automatically trust you. Does not happen like that. In order to build trust, you may build relationships. Everybody's not good at building relationships. Everybody does not want to build relationships. But in order to create trust, you have to build relationships. You have to develop relationships. And a lot of the times, people don't want to put any time in developing relationships and getting to know each other. They want a quick, fast, in a hurry scenario where they can trust people. But it just does not work that way. Doesn't work that way because people have past, because people have baggage, because people have been hurt in the past. So people normally and naturally have apprehension to extending trust, especially if they've been hurt in the past, if the bonds of trust have been broken, if they've seen some things that kind of don't fit into what they think things should be. So it's not that easy. It's not that difficult. And myself personally, I don't even expect people to extend trust to me without getting to know me. Of course, when I was younger, I was a little naive. But as we grow older, as we observe people, as we observe things, as we watch people in action, because I am a big advocate of watching people in action, if people will do friends and family any kind of way, you kind of think, you know what, if this is what they did to people who they say they love, 9 times out of 10, they're going to do it to me too. So I'm not going to extend trust to that person. Now, does that always pan out? No. Sometimes there's some things going on where some trust was broken or a relationship broke down, and you can actually trust that person. However, when we see things, when we hear things, we are apprehensive to extending trust to people. So that's my message. It wasn't scripted. I just, seen some things this week. I'm hearing some things in different settings. And I'm really thinking, you know what? People think trust is this automatic thing that is just thrown out and given out naturally. And it's just not that type of party. You have to put in the work in order to get somebody to trust you. You have to be relational. You have to get to know the person, get to know the pros and cons, get to know the good and the bad. And if somebody offers you trust, if somebody opens their heart to you, be understanding and be careful with their heart, because it is a very, very sad and hurtful thing to know that somebody that you have granted trust to has destroyed that trust and has taken advantage of that relationship. So that's another thing. Be careful of how you treat people, how you deal with people, how you share things that people share with you, because everybody has to have somebody they can trust. You can't be a cynic all the time. You can't be skeptical all the time. You can't be so guarded and hard that you're not willing to get to know people, because that also is not a very good way to live life. So that's my short message on trust. Hope it did something for you. And remember, be careful with who you trust and be careful who extends trust to you. Peace out. Have a wonderful night.